You're Sperp back with another video, and I just got done watching Avatar 2 or Avatar The Way of the Water. And ironically, it is raining outside, so if you hear that in the background, that is what it is. It's been raining all day, ironically. But, anyways, this is the long awaited sequel that took 13 years to come out. James Cameron is a madman. He decided, hey, I'm going to make an Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know what I'm saying? The list goes on. He wants to turn this into a huge franchise. And me and a lot of other people have been kind of like making jokes about Avatar. Like, nobody really cares about Avatar. The first one was just kind of like a fluke. Even though I did kind of watch a little bit of the first one before I went to this movie, I didn't get to finish it all, but I haven't seen Avatar since it came out back in '09. It's been such a long time, and I think it was definitely worth the wait. I think this is definitely a movie that we definitely needed outside of the comic book stuff, outside of like even horror. That's my favorite genre, but it's dope to actually get a blockbuster like this. And wow, the visual effects are amazing. It's completely stunning. But let me talk about the story real quick without spoiling anything. This picks up, I think it's about like 30 years. A lot of time went by to where Jake Sully now is now one with the Na'vi people. He has let go of his human form and has fully embraced the life of being an Avi and being a part of Pandora, and just being back in this whole entire universe and seeing what James Cameron does as far as world building with this movie is fantastic, bro. It looks visually stunning. It's beautiful. Every frame just looks amazing. It's like, where did they shoot this at? And you completely forget that this is all done with mocap and just the underwater scenes. And I'm jumping ahead right now, but that's just the biggest takeaway of this movie is the visual effects. But what I like about this movie compared to the first one is we focus a lot more on Jake's kids. Like, he has, I think, 5 or 6 kids. One kid that is actually the villain of the previous movie's son. And the villain from the previous movie is also back in his Na'vi body or his Avatar body or some shit like that. That's really interesting. I like that twist, and he's hell-bent on just getting revenge on Jake. And I love what they did with him at the end, and I love what they did with Spider's character. That's why I was talking about that was kind of almost like Jake's adopted son in a way, and has a relationship to, what was her name? Sigourney Weaver's character. I forget. I'm drawing a blank on a lot of these characters' names, but she also has a daughter in this that can pretty much do everything in this movie. She has an interesting relationship with Spider. Spider is a really interesting character. I want to see what they're going to do with him in like Avatar 3, because I think he's a very pivotal character just because he has that connection with the previous villains and just wanting to know who his father is. And that's what this whole movie is really about. It's about family and unity, and just, I just love how they display this, and they take the focus away from Jake and also Zoe Saldana's character, which Zoe Saldana doesn't really do anything in this movie besides yell and just cry. That's what she's really mostly there to do. And she also gets busy with the action scenes, but don't expect much from her. Her role is kind of really pushed to the backside. Like I said, I think it was a necessary sacrifice just to kind of get us familiar with these newer characters, because that's why I think this has more going for it compared to the first movie, where the first one, you really didn't care about a lot of the characters besides Jake and whatnot, and somewhat of the villain. But I feel like they make the villain more compelling, where he's kind of letting go of his like human self, a lot of just clashing of humanity, and just I just like the world building as well. I want to go back to that, and once we get to the expansion of just this world and there's all these different types of people, these different types of village where we get introduced to the reef people. That's where the whole way of water comes. They live like in the water. They're pretty much like fish people, almost kind of resembling like Samoans in a way. I think that's what they're kind of taking influence from, and it's very fascinating, bro. It's crazy how you see these Na'vi people just connecting with nature, where you see Jake and the hybrids that he comes out with. Like, his kids are also mixed now with this Na'vi, and you see that they deal with a lot of more human emotions and stuff like that, where they're looked at as freaks at first. They don't really, other people don't know how to kind of treat this, because the sky people, that's who they refer to as the main villains, are just there to kind of get all the resources and pretty much inhabit this this new planet where Earth is dying. We haven't really seen all of Earth, and that's why I want to see where Earth is at, and if we're going to ever go back to that, because James Cameron has said, I think in like Avatar 4, there would be like a battle on Earth, which would be fucking crazy. I just think that visually this is amazing. I'm almost tempted to go rewatch this in 3D, because it definitely seems like something you have to get the full experience with, even though without it, it's fine. Just because I wear glasses, it's kind of an uncomfortable experience, but I would be willing to go check this out, because with this being a 3-hour movie, I don't feel like I was ever bored. The story kept me engaged. The characters, I want to see how far they go into, as far as like a time skip, if they just pick up right where the second one left off, and we see these characters are much older. And it doesn't seem like we're gonna have to wait that long for Avatar 3. I'm assuming it's gonna come out in the next like 2 years. So I'm all for it. Before this movie, I wasn't really hyped to see no Avatar, but just what they have done with the world building and these characters alone, and just the visuals, and where they can possibly take this technology with other films. I hope that they kind of look at what James Cameron has done and kind of try to emulate it, or try to one-up him, because this is definitely some next level visual effects, I would say. And I think people that were skeptical about this movie, or this franchise kicking off as a whole, I think this movie is going to be the movie that really changes your mind. Or maybe you might have a opposite take. Maybe you didn't like this movie as much. Let me know if you didn't like this movie, or what you didn't like about this movie. But it's really hard for me to find negatives about this. Maybe just the length. Maybe just try to make Avatar 3 2.5 hours. Try to really, because it doesn't. There's some things that don't need to be in here, but it's meant to be an experience, and boy, was this an experience. And I'm really tempted to go see this very soon again. Overall, definitely recommend checking this out. If you were on the fence, do not wait for DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4K and stuff like that. Go see this in theaters in the biggest format possible, IMAX. See it however you feel comfortable, and on how you want to see it. Let me know how you guys feel about it. If you've seen this movie, like I said, I want to know your negatives, your positives. Wow. I'm ready for Avatar 3 at this point. But until next time, I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.